Okay, the next thing we're going to be looking at is the section of the book that's entitled The Challenge. And one thing that I want you to be aware of is the fact that just because you change the way that you think doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to become a champion. There's various different aspects in this game that you have to master to reach the highest levels. As I mentioned in the Angles as a Second Language course, there's your core mechanics, your fundamentals, being able to execute those day in, day out. That sets the foundation for your game. You've got core knowledge, which includes your core mental game. And we're going to be addressing much more of that here in the upcoming weeks. But you have your core knowledge, your understanding of the game, your understanding of how the balls react to one another, your understanding of how to deal with the pressures of the game, to stay in the present moment, to focus on the pre-shot routine. Then you've got your core offensive shots, and these are the patterns. Being able to pick out the angle that you have at the table, what speed the shot needs to be struck with, what speed it has to possess in order to get you to the next ball. So that also ties in, with the core defensive shots and being able to play safeties when you need to. And then, of course, you got your core patterns. And your core patterns enable you to put all this together. So all these things interact with one another to make you into a champion player. You cannot leave one aspect out and make it to the upper levels. You have to have all of them. And so that's why it's so important that we spend time on each one of them. But I will say that I don't think there's anything more important than the mental game. And I think you've done a wise thing by enrolling in this course, because being able to hear from some of the foremost authorities in the field of sports psychology is really going to give you an edge. And it's going to help your game immensely. When you're at the table, you need to be able to give your all, each and every performance. Don't let up. I don't care if you're playing a child or you're playing a member of the opposite sex. When you're in tournament play, you have to be unrelenting. The moment that you let up and you let a child in a big tournament win 2 or 3 games in a race to 5, then I guarantee you they're going to make the 9-ball on the break one game, and then they're going to slop the 9-ball in the next game. And then you're going to be in the loser's bracket regretting the decision that you made. So if you're just playing around, that's one thing, but if you're in competition, give your all. You have to do your best in order to make it into the final rounds of the event. You have to be able to deal with adversity. Adversity is something that plagues us all. And pool is a game of adversity. I've played in a lot of pool rooms where the tables are not level. The cloth, it's got worn spots in it. Some rails may be dead. If you may have a problem with your tip. Your tip could delaminate during the middle of a match, or it could fly off the ferrule. It's an imperfect game. You have to be able to deal with circumstances like this. You cannot let things like that bother you. The sooner that you understand that that's part of the challenge, and the sooner that you just say, hey, that's part of the game, then the better off that you'll be. And folks, sometimes, whether we like it or not, the balls just won't let us win. Sometimes we're given unwinnable circumstances. You can't blame that on yourself. You have to just understand that some games, it's just not meant to be. Another thing I want to talk about is the importance of playing in the present moment. As we play in the present moment, we don't get nervous. The best way to play in the present moment is to focus on that pre-shot routine. You know, everyone needs a pre-shot process. The Angles as a Second Language course gives you that. This course gives you that. It should be the very foundation for your game. If you focus on step one, I'm going to do this, step two, I'm going to do that, then you're focusing on the present moment. You're not worried about what happened last game or last week or last match. You're focusing on then and now. Another thing you can do is think about your senses. What am I feeling now? What am I seeing now? You know, those are additional tools that we can use to keep ourselves in the present moment. But all these things are important because once you start thinking about the score or you get your mind off of the present, then that's when you're going to have some problems with nerves. And so the quicker that you get over that and you're able to perform in the present moment, the sooner that your game is going to move up a notch. Relax. Being able to relax is another thing. You know, is it a matter of life and death that you win the match? No. Are you going to be able to eat if you don't win? Will you have a place to stay tonight if you don't win? You know, is it really worth getting worked up over? Professionals play their best when they're at a moderate arousal rate when it comes to nervousness. And so the real trick to the game is don't ever let it reach a state of panic. Again, focus on the present moment. Focus on the things you can control and don't worry about the things that you can't. Play with confidence. Believe that you're going to win. Use these affirmations, the hypnosis videos that I've shared with you. Use all these things to help yourself become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you're going to win, then more than likely you're going to become a champion. But you have to say these things to yourself over and over and over again. And you got to be able to trust yourself. Whenever you're playing, don't start second guessing yourself because then you're not playing in the present moment. You got to focus on what's happening then and now. Make clear, concise decisions. Weigh out the options. Decide which one is the best. Is it choice A, B, C, or D? Which choice gives me the best opportunity to win the match? And that's the choice that I've got to go with. So, you know, trust in your ability to make the correct decisions. Be kind to yourself. You know, a lot of times it's almost like that we have two voices. We have self one that says, get down here, cut the 8 ball to the left, go 2 rails for position on the 9. And then, after we mess up that shot, there's another voice that says, boy, wasn't that stupid. Can't believe I rattled that ball. Well, you shouldn't have talk like that. And that's what the positive affirmations are for. And the positive replacement thoughts are for. You're going to be replacing those with positive things. Anytime that you start to talk to yourself negatively, you need to answer it with something positive. You should say, well, no, it really wasn't a dumb shot. I just didn't concentrate on my pre-shot routine. The next time that I'm down on the shot, I'm going to give it its just due, and I'm going to concentrate on nothing but that, and I'm going to pocket the ball. I'm going to do it subconsciously. So, again, that's another important thing. And you got to love the big shot. All the pro players are masters at pocketing key shots in important situations. Under pressure. They don't let things like that bother them because they know how to master all these things. And that's what the challenge is, being able to master all these different things. You know, being able to mix the offensive with the defensive, with the kick shots, with the decision making, all these different things that we've talked about in this video. So the next thing I want to do is show you a drill that's going to perhaps help you into improving your defensive game. It's very similar to the exercise we did before, the left or right, where that you're kicking to the left or right of the object ball, and then you're going to get how many strokes that it takes you to do that. But this one is a defensive drill, so let's take a look at that. Okay, you'll notice I've broken the balls, and this is the layout that I've been presented with. And as I look at the layout, I get ball in hand on each shot. And here's what the rules are. There's going to be 9 shots that you're going to have, just like the other drill. You can use the same scoring sheet. How many strokes is it going to take you? But the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are the blockers. And so my job is to play safeties each time. If I'm a beginning player, then the way that I would want to play this is my cue ball doesn't have to hit any cushions at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the cue ball right here, and I'm going to bank the 1 down behind the 12 or the 13. And as I do that, the cue ball has to hit no cushion at all. Okay, now, I'd ask myself the question, if all the solid balls were gone, did I hook them behind the 10, 12, 11, 13, 14, 15? One of these strike balls that I was mentioning earlier, the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, is the one ball hooked behind one of those balls. Well, it's blocked by the 11. So I give myself credit for playing safe on that one, if I'm a beginning player. Just as long as that I get a safety, it doesn't matter how that I get it. Another thing that you could do is, just like on the 2 here, trying to get a safety, I'm trying to go behind a strike ball. So here I'm going to just try to play behind the 12 down there. So I'm just going to bump it. Did I get them behind the 12? Yes, I did. So that would be acceptable safety. That's the beginning level. So how many shots does it take you to go through balls 1 through 9 and get safeties on each of the shots? The beginning level is the cue ball doesn't have to hit a cushion at all. So you would do that. How many strokes does it take you to get through balls 1 through 9, and you're always hooking them on balls 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, or 15. You can't use the other solid balls to hook them behind. That kind of gives you a challenge. You got to hook them behind that. And the way you determine whether you've hooked them or not is, excuse me, if you walk down here, could they hit that ball directly? If they can hit it directly, then you have to take ball in hand again and play another defensive shot. Now, as it gets more advanced, the way that you can play it now is the cue ball has got to strike at least 1 cushion to get behind the ball. So here the instance could be the cue ball has to strike at least 1 cushion. I'm going to set it here. Try to play behind the 14. Before, it was just you could shoot the object ball. The cue ball didn't have to strike a cushion. You could just shoot into it as long as you got the safety. You were okay. But now the cue ball has to strike at least one cushion. So we'll get down the shot. Did I snooker him from hitting it directly? Yes, I did. So that's acceptable. So I would have gotten that ball off one stroke. As you want to make it more difficult, and again, these are on separate games. You can play one game where that you don't have to strike the cushion with the cue ball. But again, you do have to get a rail. It's just like a real game. One rail has to be touched with something, but in the initial phase, the cue ball doesn't have to strike a cushion. In the second level, the cue ball has to strike the cushion. The third level, the cue ball has to strike two cushions. So if I was playing in the more advanced levels, then I'd be on this 4-ball. What I could say is, cue ball's going to hit this cushion, then go behind the 11 and 12. If I do that, then I get credit. Obviously, I didn't do that. The 6-ball wasn't there. They could shoot that ball straight in. I didn't go behind the 11 and 12, so I'd have to try this again. So now I'm on stroke 2 here, trying to get it up there. But this has given me valuable experience here. Hit a little hard that time. Did I get them? No. So this will be my third attempt. I'm still trying to get the speed control down. But again, I've got to strike at least two cushions. Again, I'm a little bit short, but you get the general idea. Then the third level, the cue ball has to strike 3 cushions to get a safety. How many strokes does it take you to get through balls 1 through 9 where you play 3 rail safes on each of those shots? Record your results and set goals. Set short-term goals for the end of the month. Set one at the end of 2 months, 6 months, and then at the end of a year. You know, take the average of each game that you play, and then where are you at? And this is really going to improve your defensive game. Being able to do that. So, if you have questions about any of this material, let me know. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. I hope you found this video to be useful, and I look forward to talking with you soon.